Peep rotation. There's nothing more frustrating than pulling your bow back on a nice buck only to not be able to see your pins clearly because your peep is rotated. This is something that I've personally experienced in the field, and I know Chris and Rick both have as well. In order to reduce this risk, we only pick high-quality bowstrings to put on our bows. That is why this season we have partnered up with Hooked Up Bowstrings. If you are looking for a high-quality string to help get you through the season, look no further than Hooked Up. Matt, the owner, is a fantastic guy. He is an accomplished competition archer and an accomplished hunter in the woods. You can visit his website at hookedupbowstrings.com. Use the code MOBILEHUNTER10. That's Mobile Hunter, the number 10, in order to get 10% off your order.
Hey guys, Rick here from the Mobile Hunter Podcast, and I'm here to tell you about one of our sponsors, Sadie's LLC, Custom Ammunition and Gun Works. Aaron Satterfield and his family have been turning out some awesome game loads that have been putting down deer, waterfowl, and turkey all year long. The Sadie's Fatty, the turkey load that we use, can stop a bird dead in its tracks. Check them out at saddiesllc.com. That's SATTIES LLC.com, or on Facebook at Saddies LLC, and tell them the Mobile Hunter Podcast sent you.
The Wild Calling store is open until Sunday only. Check out the high-quality t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, and hats. Jake Schlosser, the artist for the Who's Gonna Carry the Bucks and the King of the Swamp designs, did an awesome job. Check them out at thewildcalling.itemorder.com until Sunday only. Again, that's thewildcalling.itemorder.com.
Welcome to the Mobile Hunter Podcast. Our mission is simple. We want to help you become a better hunter. We believe that mobility kills and efficiency will set you free.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to another Wild Calling Wednesdays. Today, we've got on two amazing guests of Whitetail Adrenaline. We've got on Jared Scheffler and Chancy Walters.
Right here, right now. We're happy to be here.
Rip
in the flesh.
Let's just get it kicked out.
Yeah. So I ran
rut time, boys and girls.
Well, we've got our drinks ready. We've got basically we're in full deer camp mode right now, I assume. Yeah, cheers to the screen really quick. We're in full whitetail. We're in full anything kind of deer camp right now. And I guess we'll just get going. The first thing that I had many requests about, Chancy, is asking you about that 200 that might so hurt your heart. The one that got screwed up. I believe it was Kansas, right?
Yes, it was Kansas. That was a special. That was just crazy. You know, if you watch everything close on that footage with, hey, we're gonna randomly. I bet we could call in a 200 incher or something. Whatever I said, I forget what I said. You obviously edit all the damn footage.
It was crazy when I edited it. Actually, like the stuff that happened on day one leading up to that you said, like you were walking in there and you're like 170 or 140, 170 to 200 or 220 or 240 or something. You have no idea what's about to happen.
Well,
not a clue.
The crazy part about that spot, we had it on our heads. Like this is a spot we need to just go back down in. It's a great spot because it was.
You were in there the year before.
Yeah, the year before, and I seen some activity in there that I liked. I didn't see no big giant deer or anything, but I seen that it's a spot that we need to hit. And we were going and doing a rattle sets, just a quick little get in, rattle here, move in another 100 yards, rattle again. Maybe we can get a big bastard to come in, and it worked like clockwork, and almost just caught me off guard. It was just silly. I mean, that deer should have been killed 100 times. Literally, I mean, the cell phone, if it was old school, we would have killed him. He caught me literally making this head movement right here, just like that. And I looked up and he caught that movement. And what happened is we had that decoy out, which he already seen the decoy. Well, when a buck comes into a rattling sequence, they're like, where's the other buck? Well, he was hunting for that other buck, didn't see it. He seen my movement, pinpointed our location, which, I mean, on the ground, you're screwed. And I did get lucky in a couple circumstances. I just wasn't able to move right. And, we got the camera with Matt there, and it was just tough to be able to
filming.
I messed up.
Filming
it was too good to be true, because if he would have downed that was about a 215 inch.
Yeah.
Right in there, 215 on the minimum, I'd say.
Yeah.
Whitetail, and he would have killed. He just got done killing 170 6 inch or something. So he would have killed a 176 on public. Very next hunt day, a 215.
Like 2 day period.
Didn't know anything about the 215 either. I didn't know about the 176 till you found it 3 days before you killed it. So I mean, it would have been too good. That's whitetail adrenaline. I mean, we don't get them all.
Right.
Oh my God. Just an amazing animal. And I will tell you, I'm going to go back. A guy ended up finding the sheds to this damn thing. We don't know the dude. The guy. Just somebody sent me a random picture.
He messaged you after, because it released the following year that you tried to kill it, hoping it was still alive, and he saw the video and sent the pictures of the sheds.
Yeah, and the guy said something about that he did see, maybe he's found some dead deer in the area that just died after shedding, and I think he probably, I think he died. The crazy part is the old lady, which is in uncuffed, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, that didn't make uncuffed. I wanted it to, but there was just so much.
We won't talk about that then. That'll be coming up.
Well, that was actually part of the tipping, part of the, uncuffed.
Talk about that old lady, yeah.
And Jim and I originally, we planned to do a knock on door permission series, but we got so carried away with the public series for so long. And then actually, the birthday post I wrote to you last night, I only wrote so much, but I always knew it would hit that point where it's he's gonna have to, we're gonna have to do uncuffed because there's gonna be situations, and that was the one deer that I watched that footage, and he felt like he could have went and knocked it. After he didn't get him a few days later, he had that deer on 150 yards from the public, bedded down in the grass, and he felt like he could probably get permission from this old lady. It
was almost like Sandlot. Oh no way! You go knock on that door, you're gonna get killed, right? Bullshit. I mean, she let me go right up in there.
Yeah. The next year when I launched Uncuffed, I let him kill his buck first in Iowa, and then told him, okay, you're free to go uncuffed. And I'm thinking in my head, if that deer's alive, he's probably gonna get it, it'll be a great story to what happened to him the year before. Well, he did get permission from the lady, but he was still trying to kill him on public. But after 5-7 days, something like that, never seen a visual, you went and knocked on her door anyway just to see if you could walk in there, and she's like, yeah, you can go hunt. So he could have the year before.
We had to move on. He gave me that opportunity, and you don't get 2 opportunities on magnums like that on public. I'm just telling you right now, it just ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is some supreme loyalty, Jared. You got to be really, really proud of that. I mean,
it was funny. He sits here and talks about uncuffed. I'm editing the footage, so I'm not always there, but let me go uncuffed, and then I give him uncuffed, and he's like, maybe we're gonna kill him on public anyway, and it's
it's a funny deal, man. As soon as he told me that, I was like, and it's crazy because I just like I just like doing what we're doing now. I figured, I told Jared, just let me just go on, let me knock on doors and and that's all fine and dandy, and it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna kill a couple big ones doing the knock on door deal. But it was just, I don't know, man. It's just something about just killing one on public, man, where everybody else can kill one. I just like it.
Oh, dude, it's it's further than a chess match with a deer.
You did kill that one.
Yeah.
That's the only one with a bow yet that we've actually done on. The rest of the public since launching it public. That's a magnum there.
Oh yeah! Holy crap!
How heavy this rack is! You can grab the 180 that we got over here. You can hold that one up, and then you hold this one up, and this is real bone. This is,
oh my gosh,
amazing! This right here, Jared's got so much sick stuff coming.
Yeah, that mass between the 2 and the 3 on that one is insane.
So this is the 180 that he's talking about. Now this was a public deer just by a few yards, but I made him hunt. But then he killed both of these in the same week?
Yeah. But just this deer,
this deer's way heavier.
This deer is like an 9-year-old deer, and you just tell when you grab it, the bump, it's almost like it's petrified.
They sent me the picture
heavy
of when the arrow, and he looks like the deer looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I call him. He's he's just got that neck, and he's just
the footage of that stuff that the crazy part, uncuffed great and all, and a bit, but the stuff that he's got coming, like, it's just gonna blow your hair back.
It's
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because the production quality of uncuffed took a leap. And there was a lot of great encounters, but and stuff, but the next season coming out, there's so many great hunts and stories and big animals and
quality of footage and
it's going to be pretty cool
up close.
I feel like when you make that jump in production quality too, and you start like amplifying your film gear. Like for me, I went to Nebraska and I self-film, and I had 4 different file types after I came. I had phone footage, I had stuff with a shotgun mic on my camera, I had my camera, I had GoPro, I had a lapel mic, and I was just like, I'm gonna like up my game on my footage. So many times that I should have killed deer because of filming. I had one giant that I was well within range of. I was sitting 50 yards from embedded with a compound, and that's a comfortable shot for me. And someone came with a side-by-side off the private and onto the public and spooked him, and I just about cried. But have you guys ever been in a situation that you think the film gear was the complete difference in you killing? I mean, I'm sure you have, but you think the cameraman and the film gear was the difference in you killing that deer or not?
Well,
we got a pretty well-oiled crew.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not just saying that, like I mean, it's not that often, and maybe I just got used to it after all these years. In the early days, it was brought up, a little more regularly, probably. And I just,
it's like not even an option.
It's not an option, so I don't even want to go.
Shut up, yeah.
Just shut up. Just shut up about the camera being the problem.
And I gave him a lot of shit, like, let's get a smaller set, like, and it's, I'll tell you, and on all the hunts that I've been in, and been around and filming wise, really the cameras never really ever actually messed up the hunt. They're not, you know what I mean? How we're doing it, we're able to get the camera guy in position somewhere, and whether it's TC or Matt or Ethan or whatever, they're all so dialed in now that they just get in position. You don't have to worry about them, and that's key with killing these deer on the ground. Up in a tree stand with that, I mean, anybody can do that. That's great, and that's fun. But the guy has to. You cannot be worrying about the guy filming when you're on the ground. You know what I mean? There's just too many things that can go wrong.
Yeah, even with that big typical that he shot there, it was like we didn't have much time to make it happen, and he had to trust everything that I was doing, and I had to trust everything, and he couldn't be worrying about it. And if I slipped up, which can happen, I mean, a lot of, when you're playing this ground game, I mean, there's so many micro details. You screw one of them up, and that costs it. Over years, I mean, we still do. Otherwise, we'd get them all, right? But we've gotten it, a little more. As you get older, you get more experience, and you play that back. You can make up excuses about things and cover it up like you did everything perfect, but then you're not facing the actual facts, so you therefore never emerge a better version. You never hit the next level. And that's one thing, on that big one you were talking about earlier, you said something about how much did that hurt your heart. I wanted to make a comment there, like had to hurt the hand, so the heart didn't hurt, because he punched that tree.
Oh my God! And the hand didn't hurt. I mean, I don't know.
But that's one thing I seen with, the first time I actually spent time hunting with him is.
Dude, every time we've hunted together, we've killed something big together.
Yeah, when he screws up, when he screws up, he don't take it light on himself. Mm-hmm. And when we did that first hunt together in 2015 Defiance, and I was like filming, and I was like droopy, and I was like, he threw his bow and I was like, wow, this is gold as a producer, this is gold. Yeah. But I was like, I really liked how he was actually like maybe too much beating himself up, but he shores that up then, and that mistake is less likely to happen down the road. And
you're
dealing with the caliber of deer that he's getting on them and kill them regularly, you can't be, you don't get a lot of those opportunities.
No, and I'm a realist. It's not like, oh yeah, you mess up on it and just move on to the net. You know, it just doesn't happen that way. So when you're in a situation, you got to make that shit happen. And you know, I've messed up enough big bucks in my life and stuff that you learn little things before it happens to delete the stupid shit. I talk about it all the time. It's like, man, you just kind of almost go through the checklist so quick in your head, like analyzing the situation. You don't want to do this and that because it could cause this and that. And you try to put yourself in position. It's a crazy thing how it works. You can't really explain it. You almost just got to just build it. And then you just try to delete the stupid stuff.
Each one of these situations on the ground, you can take what you've learned in the past, but it's a whole new engineering schematics of all of what he's talking about there. And
you're right up my alley because I'm an engineer here, and that's how I think of these situations.
You gotta see that situation and how much time do I got to make it happen? Sometimes you got all day, but sometimes it's like right now, and this is what we need to do now, and do. How's the wind blowing? This could get us here.
Yeah, and the seconds. I mean, we've been off a second or two, three. You know, 30 seconds where we've talked about it, almost gets annoying talking about how much we say it, but it's like the most crucial thing. You got to go with your gut so quick sometimes, and you're like, we've been in multiple positions where we're like, hey, should we do, man, what do you think? And that little time frame where we should have just went with our gut, that was a time frame where we would have been in position to kill. Yeah. And that
got us on the ride. Window, you know, he's such an analytical thinker on things, and I am. And we trust our instincts a lot, but we did quite a bit of hunting together during the ride. And we had multiple situations that we sat there second guessing because he's really good at what he does. I've got a lot of experience in doing it too. And so we're like trying to really, what do you think? What do I think? And then formulate a better decision when it's like, if he would have just done what his instincts were telling, we wouldn't have lost out on the time. We spent too much time engineering the product, engineering the plan. In this world, we're not doing a product, but the whole.
I know you've been in situations like that where you're like, oh man, you don't want to mess it up, and then you're like, hee-hawing about like, what should I do? He could do this. There's always 2 or 3 different options.
Oh man, I got like
5 and then there's all the micro things within that. Careful.
Yeah, it's like decision 1. Do I go after him right now? Do I wait for him to bed? You're like, I got to go after him now. And now you're like halfway there. You've covered a mile, sprinting a mile. You're like, all right, like, what's the wind doing here? Is he going to end up here? Is he going to cut this way? There's so many little ways that you can debate. And I think you guys, going back to like the film thing, like it makes sense that you guys aren't screwing up things because of film, because you're all hunters or detail oriented people that are like, all right, this is what we got to do. My instincts telling me this, the variables at play are this. And like, we got to get people set up in these positions. And it kind of relieves some of the pressure when you're not self-filming, where you have to think about hit and record before the shot. You can just be that hunter that's dialed on the shot and reading like everything that you see in front of you. And I really like, Chancy, that you are passionate after failure and after kill. Like I would never cuss or anything on my channel. I would do it for forever. And then last year I was at 3 yards, like literally picking out the eyelashes on this buck bedded at 3 yards in Nebraska last year. And there's like a 155 would have been the biggest buck I ever shot at the time. And I drew on him and I'm like, man, I'm thinking this is such a done deal that I'm like, should I shoot him in the neck? Cause I can't see below his neck. I'm like, should I shoot him in the neck? That might ruin the mount. And I'm just thinking it's so done. And then that one switch of wind, and I tossed the bow, I cussed, I kept it on my channel. I bleeped it out. But people are like, man, I'm surprised like you got worked up. I'm like, dude, I love this shit. Like I'm passionate about it, man. You don't get that. You guys don't put those bucks down that are probably sitting in front of you right now if you aren't so passionate and a little crazy about this, and I appreciate that you guys show it,
Yeah, right.
It doesn't mean nothing. The damn word's a word, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you can't have the good without the bad, that's for sure, man.
Right. There's a lot of it's an interesting, each one of those hunts, it's like, he's done the canoe thing a couple times, and that's the whole engineer plan. It's like he was on that deer for 3 days, And
There's only one way to get in.
And he's like, oh, there's only one way to do this. I got to go get a canoe, find a canoe. And he tracked down a canoe and they drug it across ground for 100 or 150 yards, dunked it in the creek, rode up there. Now the buck's only 50 yards off the road.
Yeah, it was as far as the big droopy time.
The one you killed right by the road with the canoe.
Oh, that one. Yeah. He was very close. Yeah, you could sneak up the road ditch and maybe shoot at him, but it wasn't set up that way. So we had to take a damn river, which you've seen it in Resurgence. You can get on damn Amazon or Apple TV. It's on. You can stream it on there. That's the main one you got streamed right now, ain't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that hunt was so cool because we totaled out a damn Jared's $high camera, which we felt horrible. Matt, just that hunt, you just got to watch that one, Resurgence. But that was a very amazing hunt, and we thought we'd never run into that situation again. That type of situation, and we did. The stuff which will be, I don't know what it'll be. It's going to be kind of like that. It'll be a beautiful hunt.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen some of this stuff, check it out. You guys have Resurgence online. It's Amazon, right?
Yeah,
it's streaming
iTunes,
Apple
under
TV,
movies,
right?
and then is the rest of them's DVD, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
DVDs.
And you guys, there is something special about putting in a DVD at a deer camp and sitting back. I mean, it's the Whitetail adrenaline machine at this point. The DVD player,
Whitetail adrenaline machine.
You guys
all sitting on the bookshelf, like
you gotta have them.
It's been a few years of not cool, but I can kind of tell that the coolness of the discs is it's developing. So I like that.
You guys have that niche hammered. Like you have, I mean, you're cornering the market.
We cornered the market because they all left. We're the only ones left producing DVDs in the hunting.
Well, and I think
the market. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
Whitetail adrenaline is built by people buying the DVDs. We have zero sponsors to hunt. It's got to be funded somehow to be able to help Jared fund this whole dream of his. And he ain't gonna do it by, obviously we could go that route. That's not the route that he wants to go. What he's doing, you build it by the clothing line and the DVD sales, and that's how we're able to do it. Right now, if you go posting stuff on YouTube, then we'd have to get sponsors and go that route, in which, whatever, that's fine. There's guys that do it, and
it wouldn't be a good approach for
it's
me.
not right now. This is how it is, and
no, I love the way it's structured, you guys.
Base.
Yeah, I love the way it's structured, and you guys got to go. I mean, you got to look on their website. You got to get yourself some DVDs if you haven't seen it, because as much as these stories are cool of us talking about it, the DVDs are a lot better. And Jared, you put a lot of effort into editing that, and I mean, it's very, very high production quality stuff, but it's not so, like, as you see on YouTube nowadays, it's not so geared towards the fancy editing and transitions and B-roll. It's more geared towards reality. You guys are showing reality. You're showing the thick and thin of these hunts, and you're showing, all the ups and downs. The whole thing that this podcast series is about. You show every bit of it, and you make it, very consumable and very entertaining. So, shameless plug for Whitetail Adrenaline, man. Like, this is it literally cornerstone the CD market, the DVD market right now.
The crazy part is, Jared, I
might put out some ads soon. Actually, it's been in the back of my head for quite some time. Like, we've cornered the market.
Yeah.
Jared, to make it so, I mean, to tell you the truth, like, he's got cameras going nonstop, whether they're in the truck or whatever, and you just forget about the damn camera. I don't even know they're really going because we're just in the middle of hunt. I don't give a shit. Well, I'm gonna kill this deer whether you're filming the shit or not. So you better capture this stuff. And he's got enough cameras going. He catches all the audio. It's very dialed in how he's got it. I don't think there's anybody that's got it dialed in like he's got, and it's pretty phenomenal. It blows my mind. Like, I'll tell you, if this doesn't work
even
out
with all the right gear, it still takes a ton in post to do it.
And
that's another reason that I wouldn't be built very well for YouTube, is because you got to turn it quicker, and I can't. I can't.
Yeah. He's a perfectionist, dude.
Yeah, I just can't let it go out the door until it's everything that I can put into it.
I mean, the audio is damn Hollywood stuff. I mean, like, dude, are you kidding me? I'm almost like, I understand, because I'm a perfectionist in my artwork and different things that I do, and he's trust me, I've tried talking him into half-assing things. He said, absolutely not, and whatever, but I will tell you the stuff that he's got coming is just going to blow your mind.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. You're going to have to put me on a special pre-order list or something like that.
Don't even talk about pre-order.
Yeah.
No shit, right?
Right. But you guys actually inspired me. Speaking of the audio, you guys inspired me to get like better lavalier mics and stuff like that, because I mean, you're on these stalks, and the post edit for some people, and what it used to be for me, is just throwing captions on there, right, of like what I'm thinking and what's going on. Now you can have a main camera 30, 40 yards behind some dude, and he's going on the stalk, and you're hearing his every breath, every thought, like what the deer's doing in front of them, and reacting in real time. So like, not only is this stuff entertaining, but it's really educational, because you don't just get, the guys doing the thing where they're in the situation. You get, because the camera's always going, because the mic's always on, you get the thought process of guys that are freaking laying down slammers every single season, multiple times a year. And man, I took a lot of those lessons into some of my hunts this year, and it just turned out so much better. So, I mean, one, appreciate that you guys are putting in all that effort with all the high quality audio and stuff like that.
It's like a jungle box there hanging up behind there.
Yeah. This is
the old man cave up in the top, huh?
Dude, this is the closet man cave. This is wall to wall right here. But I got other stuff in the other room. My fiance, we're in like a 900 square foot duplex.
Hey, you got you a good woman. I don't have. I have 0 deer hung up. They're all in piles and I mean, I'm one of these days.
Two are at the fireplace.
So those are the latest deer that I've shot. So I always throw a couple of them up by the fireplace, but everything else is in a pile until someday that I can build like a shed and have everything hung up. I'll do that. But right now we ain't worried about the details. We're just
you guys. I mean, it looks like you have a really nice place too, Chancy. It looks way fancier than mine.
My wife, she used to tell me I need to get a haircut and get a real job. I got a property that I own when I met her, and we're up here and we're city slicking right now a little bit, but eventually maybe build something or something. I wish my property was a little bit closer than it is. It's an hour away, and she's got to be closer to the city, because that place would be the sickest place to build a place.
Yeah,
it really would. It's just too far. It's an hour away from where we need to be, but I'm very happy, blessed. I got a good woman. Awesome. I don't know how I've lasted this long with her. She kicked me to the curb here in a year or two. Hopefully not, but I love her more in the world. Listen, I've been with her for 8 years, and she's put up with me this long, and we're on a good run so far, so we're just going to keep on keeping on. But I'm very blessed. I got a good woman. I never thought I'd ever actually have a woman that wants to deal with me, and I'm very lucky to have her.
Dude, it's an awesome thing too, because we have more mounts up than like our live, laugh, love decoration crap. Like, we literally have more deer heads than artists, like little pieces of art on the walls, which I've never met a girl that would ever even remotely close to accept that.
Well, I will say one thing: the beauty woman, now that she's a bow hunter, now that she killed her first big one last year, she should have a whole damn wall of big bucks. But she's going to be killing big ones every year. I got her, she's still nosebleed hunting. This is not food plotted up. This is cow pasture timber is what I'm talking about. And, I think the only deer that'll be ever hung up in our house will be her deer.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to expand the amount when Caitlin starts. Whenever people ask me about Caitlin, my fiance, I'm always like, yeah, she's really cool and really awesome. I have no idea what she's doing with me. But once she recovers from whatever's going on mentally, I'm sure she'll drop me.
You're a cool dude. I just met you just now, man. I mean, you got the best hair of all time, it looks like to me. Shit, I dreamed to have good hair like you. I just got a mullet out of the back of the hat. But yeah,
man, that's better. That's better in my opinion. I can't look good with a mullet. But yeah, I mean, there's been some stuff. You're talking about rattling deer with that 200. Like, you guys have had a lot of crazy stuff happen when you're rattling in deer and you're doing that bouncing around. Chancy, I see that happen a lot with you in Iowa and stuff.
Like that too. Listen, Jared's going to be hunting a lot more, folks. Okay, he's been babysitting everybody. It's time.
I'm going to get another.
Okay,
deer. He's the rattle call guy, and I have been
like
there and I've seen it. And well, I mean, how do you think that 180 he triggered to come from private to public?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he had permission.
go grab a beer,
But
come back.
He wanted, that's how bad he wanted to kill it on public. He had permission to kill it over there where the buck was. And he's like, I'm going to call him on public.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's on the big one here, or the one that's coming. Yeah. Well, that hunt was so cool because I feel horrible because me and TC were battling this buck, and we were having a pretty tough season. And I'm not going to give all the lowdown on it because it's going to be such a beautiful footage, and I don't want to kind of give it away. But it's that hunt. Me and TC were on this buck. I got permission because now it's uncuffed time. Knocked on door, got permission. I was able to actually look up this guy's number and get the number. Call the guy. Yes, we can hunt. Skeeter wants to be up in the jungle. And that's my Llewellyn setter. She's a bird dog. She's awesome. But anyway, so what was crazy is, we were able to get permission. Me and TC were just so close. I could have shot him one of the nights, but I didn't have permission yet.
Permission yet.
I'm just like, man, I got to get a hold of this guy. If he gives me an opportunity, I'm going to kill this deer, public or not public, as long as I got permission.
I'll get him.
And I was here. Give me that squeaky.
Outside?
Here, yeah.
Come on. Okay. Let's go outside.
But anyways, it was crazy. So TC had a time limit. He's got other things in life. He's got a wife, and he's got to go back home. We can't be doing this for, we try it. We have about a month. This is what we kind of talk about. From Halloween to Thanksgiving is kind of our goal. But let's try to make shit happen and within that period of time. And we were hunting hard, and then TC had to leave, and Jared, he's like, well, we're going to go and try to kill this thing the next day. And I already knew it was going to happen just because, we've hunted 3 or 4 times together, and we've killed 2 mega giants together or something crazy. I feel
we better knock on wood. I'm
that was actually the first one that he filmed me kill the mega giant that I did.
That one there.
That thing's insane.
I hadn't. So that was the first one that I filmed him kill. Was that big typical that I showed earlier. But that is so cool because his first arrow, he had him at 12 yards, called him over off the private,
my God,
onto the public. Could have shot either side. There wasn't even a fence line there for the deer to have to cross, but he got him over, and the arrow, he had him at 12 yards. The arrow hits a weed the size of my thumb, deflects.
Didn't know it.
And the buck runs right by him at probably 4 or 5 yards, all the way to the other side of him, and
spear chucked him.
Stops at 18 yards in the thick weeds, and he sent it. And
wow,
it's history.
Yeah. We sent her. Listen, they gave me an opportunity, and we sent her in there medieval style, right into where most people wouldn't ever took it, but it was it was very deadly shot. And then what was crazy is I'm not a real good shot with a bow. I'll make stuff happen, but I'm not no Rod White or them.
Levi Morgan,
they're bang, boom, sent it right in. I literally. It was so funny because Jared was pretty impressed. He's like, God damn, you hit that thing.
Yeah, because he ran out there.
He ran out there. I'm like, I'm
about 50 yards.
But I
smoked him right
I seen
there.
the blood
50
going.
yards is about where we figured your max kind of, he's going to hammer. He hammers good into a pocket. He don't shoot the bow till the day the hunting's starting. I don't need him getting in his head.
That doesn't mean anybody else needs to do that. It's just what I do.
And it works good.
Shoot your bow more than me.
I learned a long time ago. I got trained really well 20 years ago, and I learned many years ago that unless a guy's going to really take the time to really hammer out the faults, a lot of times it's better to just let them go and don't even tell them what they're doing wrong, and they'll probably do way better in the field because otherwise they'll have a mind battle. I got to have this right. I got to have that right. They're not. They can't automatically do that, and so then it's like, man, I've been hunting for 20 years and killing all these big bucks, and I know I've got 1 second. But this isn't in check. That's not in check.
Yeah.
So, there's two pathways that I think work really well, and that is to either take the time and really hammer it down or just go with what you know and don't get stuck in the middle. Because the middle,
absolutely.
And then it's
I didn't have anybody to really like I have a really good friend of mine that got me into bow hunting, Kevin Bills, and he got me into bow hunting. Didn't even know really what the rut. This is probably when I was 15 or 16, but it was like I just really didn't know what the rut was about, and I just wanted to shoot good enough to kill the deer. Like I didn't need to be damn shooting aspirin at 60 yards. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. I never really needed to be that, and I never really wanted to be that. I think if I practice, I think I could get dialed in really, really crazy. But like I don't. That's just not my deal. Like I want to shoot. I want to, do I need to shoot more? Yes, I do need to shoot more. But eventually maybe I will have more time. But right now I'm trying to fit everything in. No excuses, but I feel pretty damn good. I feel better just grabbing the bow
there is
and not.
Yeah, there's
You know what I'm saying?
As well as he executes it in those high intense battles with those mature deer in those situations. I mean, yeah, some things happen, every now and again, but the amount of times he closes the deal, it's up there pretty high, and I haven't seen where what he was just talking about there, like shooting more, that could cause a whole bunch of, like, that's not good. If you're gonna do that though, you gotta like do it months in advance. And really, if you're gonna take that and then now enter battle where you gotta rush stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you're, like I know that road very, very well, and it's a great road, but ultimately those guys that get really, really good, I've seen a video, I don't know, a couple years ago, on Chris B's channel, where he executed a very fast. And it was impressive for me to see how well he come up over top of the brush and executed that shot very quick. Now he shoots a lot and trains a lot, so he can run auto on a lot of things in those situations that do require less time. But taking a guy that's, if he starts shooting 2 weeks before the season and starts like getting in his head about I got to do this and that, he's going to enter the battle and it's going to be good. The bow is going to be sighted in for this. He's going to be like, I got 2 seconds to execute this. He's not sighted in for I just already know it ain't going to be. So
I love the way that you call it.
He's got to go bass fishing and he's got to keep his woman happy.
Yeah.
Dude,
she don't require much to keep her happy either. So that's why it works.
Jared, I love that you call it.
I better stop talking.
No, you're good. No, I love that you call it training.
She might come around the corner and double lung both of them.
Yeah, she's hunting now, man. That might be the biggest buck she ever killed. You two,
I
love that you call it training too, Jared, because I wrestled in college, and the same thing that you're preaching. Man, dude, the best are all the best are, but I love that you call it training, because like that same concept when you're talking about like a last minute adjustment before a match, you can't do that. Like you got to make a bunch of conscious efforts until they become a subconscious habit, and that takes months. Right. And so when you tell a guy like, hey, this guy, Chancy, you might know what I mean here. This guy's a big leg rider, work on your leg ride defense the night before a match. You're going to go out there and get just screwed. You're going to wrestle completely out of your style and the things that you do well, which what we talked about, you guys analyze the situation really well. You operate off instinct really well. You forget to do the stuff you do really well because you're so focused on the stuff you're not doing well. And not only does that tear apart your confidence, but then you aren't executing on all the stuff you should be in that moment.
You just prepare yourself for something silly to come. Like, that guy, if you already know how that dude wrestles. Or same thing with, little things with bucks, how they react to this and that. You got to have that already in the checklist. Like, you got to be prepared for that shit to happen before it happens.
Well, especially with like shooting a bow, what ends up happening in those situations is a battle of the minds, and auto conscious is trying to take control of it, and so is auto. And then you get a fight of calculations, and then anxiety happens, and then that's one of the things that happens with target panic, is there's a battle of the minds going on. Now, what you were talking about, using the conscience to train it, eventually, that's why I call train, is because eventually, if it's matured to the point where it can do it auto right, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, in that space, it's like you got to be both feet in, or just do what he does, which is show up, shoot a handful of arrows, make sure the equipment's dialed in, and not get too in his head, because then he goes into the battle and he's not in his head about any fault that he's making.
I always tell everybody, you got to be a decent shot. You do not have to be the best shot in the world to kill deer. It's all about in the moment decision making. I've never been a good shot with a bow. I've never practiced enough to be a good shot with a bow, but I've learned and adapted little things that just help me make decisions on the fly to be able to, like there's a lot of people, I'm not gonna take that shot. Well, you took that shot, you would have killed that deer. Now you're talking about, man, this big buck I could have killed. Well, you just got to get kind of confident with certain things and make shit happen. That's the main thing. Make it happen. And sometimes people think about it too much. Listen to me. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And sometimes you have to send that damn thing.
Oh yeah.
And where you think, it could happen. It could, it could not happen. But if you didn't send that, I can't tell you, I'm going to bet you half the deer that I've ever shot. If I would have been like, ooh, it's not perfect, I would have never killed them big bucks. So you got to make stuff happen.
And it is important when you're doing that to be running good equipment that, that's a topic that we don't really need to discuss much, right. But the last thing in those situations that we want to be thinking about is like, well, is my arrow going to hit bone and stop? Can I take that? Like that big one that I was talking about that stopped in the weeds. Well, all them weeds were as thick as the thumb. It was wide open other than that one weed that he happened to hit on that 12-yard shot. But when it stopped at 18, all he had was the upper neck. And it's like, I was sitting there filming and I was like, I hope he don't hesitate because he hits him with what he's running. It's over.
Yeah. Well, even on uncuffed, that big one.
He ran out
over the tree, over the hill. And hit a damn. A lot of people. I don't know if you said it. Yeah. But I hit a damn weed. As big around your pinky, and that's what. I mean, it was going to the jungle.
Heavier arrows do help that. He's running around 5.
We got some sneaky shit coming. Daddy's gonna. I'll blow right through the weeds.
Yeah. We keep a couple in the quiver for hairy situations like that because heavier will fight those weeds better. But it's hard to one size fits all in that. But in that particular case, I knew because I know what he's running. Like, I hope he takes that shot. And the deer did run out to 50, but that deer was done in probably 2 minutes. Even with what I mean, it's I don't know. The footage on that's going to be a little much.
It's it's a scary movie.
We hit him right there. It's
right.
Not pretty. It's not a pretty.
I always his footage, the movie or the stuff that he produced. It's almost like a damn scary movie. It's almost like, you know what I mean. But it's so like this.
It's gripping, man. It's gripping. It's suspenseful.
It stresses me out. Like when I watch it, I'm like, God dang,
good movies do that. And good characters bring.
My wife doesn't like watching movies with me because I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, just chill out. It's a damn movie, and I'm like pissed off at the people. I'm like,
they got you.
I'm very emotional.
They got you.
I was watching Uncuffed with my fiance, and we were supposed to go do something. She's not a big fan of like watching hunting stuff and
he likes it. I did.
I had an alarm on my phone, so we had to get up and go somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but right in the middle of a hunt, that alarm goes off, and I was like, all right. I paused it, turned off the DVD player, and she's like, well, you got to give me like 3 more minutes. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know you were watching it. Like,
hey, when you get the women in the hunting, that means you're doing the right thing.
Oh, dude. Well, I credit you guys for some of that. I owe you something for that.
I'm glad the ladies like watching it because I mean,
well, it's got that. It's got enough like clowning, and I've gotten that a lot over the years. It's got enough other dynamic to it of like, what is
you guys got to cast a character?
You guys do out there hunting too? Like they're
yeah.
So
I love it, man.
Hey guys, Rick here from the Mobile Hunter Podcast, and I'm here to tell you about one of our sponsors, Sadie's LLC, Custom Ammunition and Gun Works. Aaron Satterfield and his family have been turning out some awesome game loads that have been putting down deer, waterfowl, and turkey all year long. The Sadie's Fatty, the turkey load that we use, can stop a bird dead in its tracks. Check them out at sattiesllc.com. That's SATTIES LLC.com, or on Facebook at Satties LLC, and tell them the Mobile Hunter Podcast sent you.
The Wild Calling store is open until Sunday only. Check out the high-quality t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, and hats. Jake Schlosser, the artist for the Who's Gonna Carry the Bucks and the King of the Swamp designs, did an awesome job. Check them out at thewildcalling.itemorder.com until Sunday only. Again, that's thewildcalling.itemorder.com.
I love it, man. Have you guys since you went uncuffed? I mean, I've asked for permission only like 5 times in my life, and I've even gotten in pretty hairy situations. Is there any time that you get in one of those I'll shoot your tires out kind of positions, or someone that's just kind of odd that you've gotten into maybe asking permission, or have you guys been pretty successful with regular Joe situations?
You mean like where if you go to ask somebody, they get pissed off?
Oh yeah.
I know Tanner had a couple coming up. I know you did.
We got one. You haven't seen the footage yet, but I had an old boy. Yeah, I went in there and, hey, you care if I hunt up in there? I'm just being cool. Like, you can say yes or no. I don't give a shit either way. We'll move on, and I was talking to him, and I don't think he liked my bullshitting, and he tried running me, he's like, you need to get the hell out of here. And I said, oh, listen, dude, I'm just asking some people just don't ask, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to ask every time. And anyway, he just was freaking out, but I don't know if we got all that audio.
Are you talking about the guy on the road or from the house last year?
Oh, that's going to be, I forgot all about that. That's
do tell if you can.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that one. Anyways, this is a different deal.
Some people wake up and they don't have their coffee early enough or something. That's usually when somebody's getting riled up too much, and that was the case on this guy. I mean, he hollered from his house.
Yeah, howled.
This would have been an uncuffed situation.
Wow.
Here, but he had permission to cross the road, and this guy just didn't like him out on the road.
He didn't like me parked out. What are you doing out on that road? Like he owned the road, and I was like, "This thing."
He was going to call the cops.
And when something like that happens to me, I'm not one to let shit fly. Like, I'm going to tell him how it is. You know what I mean? But I'm not hurting him. Hey, I know what's right and what's wrong, and I'm not going to do something that I shouldn't to really piss somebody off. But for that dude, I don't know what his problem was, but you'll see it sometime sooner or later on the footage.
Didn't he have a shotgun?
Oh yeah. Oh, he went
knocked
on the door, and I came back. I don't know how it worked. I forget.
As the story goes, he had a big buck, down here, and that
had permission,
and this guy started hollering from his house.
So
Chancy's like, I'm just going to pull up.
I want to see what his problem is. Like, what's he think that I'm not doing right type of deal, right?
So this guy went and, he did come to the door with a shotgun
I knocked on the door. I'm like, I want to talk and try to clear this up. Like, he might think I'm doing something else. We don't need him
causing a big commotion, blowing the buck out.
Yeah, I don't need him calling the landowner. All these guys are doing this or that. And I'm like, there was nothing
twisting stuff around.
There's nothing even going wrong here. I just needed to tell this dude what we're actually doing. Inform him that there's.
And then he'll probably be cool and be like,
hey, come on in.
Sorry.
Come in for a hot cocoa.
I didn't have my coffee. My bad. Whatever. I mean, people got stuff that happens to them in life, and then they're, something sets them off. Their anxiety kicks in, and that's not even the real problem going on.
I mean, right where we parked, he might have flushed a rooster one time there, and he missed the son of a bitch, and that pissed him off. Who knows?
Gave him flashback.
Still, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, man, I just stopped asking for permission, man. Honestly, I've had just a few situations that made it go sour for me, and I just
don't you give up, bud. Let me tell you something.
I love chasing them in public, honestly. Like
I get it, but if you get an area. A lot of people think they got to get permission on the main piece. Get a acre to 2 acres that butts up to the jungle. Everybody gets all that. I need to have this and the heart and the bedding and all that. Get creative, bud. Get right up in there, slam dunk, and you don't need much, do you, J-Rod?
Yeah, you guys make a little bit of land work really, really well for you in a lot of these hunts too.
Well, a lot of times those are the overlooked spots. So that's where a lot of times those bigger, older deer end up.
Yeah.
Just by default, they figure out the nugget little spots over the years, and they realize I don't want to be on that 1,000 acres. I want to be over on these 2 that nobody's bothering me.
Yeah, it's a nosebleed bucks. They like
so
that. They like to. Deer don't like people. I say it every time, except for the bucks that live in the city. They like people because
and
they're in the city.
and they know which ones. They know.
They do.
It's crazy. Like they know when they're being hunted in the cities, and they know, oh, that's not a problem. Even the one that he shot there, he had people walking. There's a walking trail right there. It's public hunting, but they also had a public walking there, and there was people walking right by. This deer.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, it's especially in an area where they don't think they're being hunted too. Like there's just semi-urban pieces in Wisconsin. There's a lot of like county land that's now what used to be how MFL was and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know the county land can be open. Right. Probably shouldn't be saying that on a podcast, but
they still hunt in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. Good thing we're based out of Ohio, right? But there's a lot that bump up to neighborhoods, and you can just go around to, Betty Lou, who that's like 94 years old. She's like, oh yeah, I seen that double drop like in my yard eating out of my bird feeder every other day.
Man.
There's some deer that if I just had permission,
I will tell you a little word of wisdom. You might have heard this before, but don't talk about the big buck to the people.
Oh, trust me, I don't have a double drop.
Saying just say you're hunting deer. You don't have to say anything else. You don't, no big bucks. Hey, you got a big old buck back here. You care about hunting? Never say that. You just you don't have to tell them that you're hunting a deer. They're going to give you. It's. People are going to think different about me saying that, but I'm going to tell you right now, you don't go in there and say there's a giant deer back here. I would love to start hunting it. What do you think? They're going to be like, oh, my nephew loves to hunt. Nah, just deer, and plus when you say with a bow, they're like, oh, that goofball's never going to kill anything with a deer bow.
And our uncuffed, with uncut, it's like we're getting permission and hunting there for hours or part of the day. We're not setting up shop all year long.
We ain't getting the backpack and cameras. And
if we get somebody that's on the fence, and we've gotten a lot of no's, but straight up no's too. But if they seem like they're kind of on the fence, we let them know, like, we're not setting up shop and running, hanging tree stands all over your ground and running cameras and doing all that. We're just hunting for a day or two, or
that is, key. You just,
and then you're not a
threat, not to deal. People don't want to deal with people.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. People have enough going on in their life. It's like, I don't know this guy. And hunters, a lot of times they're doing all this stuff, and
they think
unless their life is really smooth, they got enough shit and problems going on.
Oh yeah.
They're like, I don't really want to think, not that I don't want them to hunt and have a good hunt or whatever, but I just don't want to deal with whatever, and so that's kind of, and we hold that true too. We're not jungle gymming up on their property and setting up shop and, hunting there all year and causing problems if there's other hunters. Although Tanner had that one situation, but that guy didn't know. And that, that was kind of a funny deal there, where it's like 2 brothers own the land, and the one didn't like that the other one didn't let people hunt because his nephew did or something. And he gave him permission to hunt, and then shoots, and the nephew's out there hunting.
Yeah,
and comes across the field. I mean, that's a crazy situation.
Oh, that was wild. Yeah.
Boom, the gun bark. Hey, a guy comes out and it's like, well, what's going on? And when I was not when I was editing, we watched it that night because I was on that hunt, and I was like, oh my God, Tanner. Like, he's so matter of fact that I'm like, I'd be pissed if I was that guy. Like, I was like, and Tanner didn't even realize, like, he's kind of being. But in Tanner's head, he's like, I got permission. I can be here.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
And, and that guy ended up being cool, but
cool enough. Yeah.
He realized, he got all the intel from what had actually happened. And then he was like, now I feel like a jerk because he did actually have permission. And I see what my, father-in-law's brother did here, and he was just trying to like,
Oh man,
What is coming on that one? We had kind of a certain circumstance like that with that one. Remember? Rolling up.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, hey, everybody. By the way, I do got permission here.
Oh, really? After he shot that big one and it died out there on the ground that he had gotten permission on, some guys showed up in a pickup, and I started, filming it because I'm like, oh, here we go, this truck's screaming across the field, and it's like they don't know what he shot yet, and when they get up there, I don't know who these people are or what, but I know we got permission to be here, and I know we shot him on public. So this is going to get interesting.
Yeah,
And so I captured it, and it only took probably 30 seconds, not even 10 probably. The guy pulled up, and he's like, damn it, Chancy, I should have known it was you. Or something like that. Wow.
They were hunting that deer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was bad.
So it ended up being pretty cool. I had ran into the one at the gas station 20 miles away earlier that week, and he had pegged me. And
great dudes.
And
they were cool.
It's just weird coincidence.
We shoot that deer, and we had like 4 or 5, like we shoot the deer, we're just trying to enjoy the moment. And we had 2 people rolling in, 2 dudes seeing us off the damn road, come walking in that were hunting the same deer that had cameras all jungle gymmed all over the place. And I was like, those are nice dudes too, but it was just like, holy shit, man, we can't even breathe up in here. Remember?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. There's plenty of times that someone will
kill those other guys. They had a lot of time invested, and it was, they get a lot of people get a picture of a buck. I tell us a lot, and I don't care. I ran cameras back in the day, and I used to run 80 of them before digital came out for a place that I took care of, property. And a lot of people, they get a picture of a buck. It's their buck now. It works. It's a deer in the Midwest. These deer are wild. They go where they want. There's no fences. This is not Texas. This is battle of the fittest, and you just got to just do something a little different or more than somebody else to, they could have shot that deer. I just made the right moves, and we got it, slid in there and got it. And I didn't know that damn deer was there, but it was, it was a very killable deer, and I just made some situations. And
I think he was hunting about a week trying to find a mega, and finally that one popped.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's freaking awesome.
Just to get an eye. The key is doing what we're doing. You just got to get an eye on one that's close, and then you can start playing the game with them. It's a game, and you try to figure, oh wow, what's close to there where we can get in, and there and that, and it's just, that's the fun part about it. Really, to tell you, that's what I live for, is being able to like figure out.
It's a new play, like we talked about. It's a new. You got to eat. Like, okay. Yeah, I've hunted deer on the ground, but it's always a new set of parameters, and we got to get across this creek, this swamp. We got to use a canoe to get in there, or whatever, whatever the snare. It's always a whole bunch of new variables of possibilities and things, and it's like,
you hate it in the moment, but you love it when it's done.
Oh yeah, dude. Highest to highest, lowest to lows. Those stalk hunts are just freaking awesome, man. Like, they're the most frustrating hunts I've ever had, but the happiest success I've ever had. And I feel like you get to adapt to so many different situations. You just become like a really versatile killer. Like, I think that you're where a lot of people, and I've described this, I did it at a seminar earlier this year, but like, those like little kids games where you got like a square block and it goes in the square hole, and a circle one, it goes in the circle hole. And like, it's just like a stupid little kid's puzzle, right? Well, there's some guys that have like certain strategy, let's call it like betting or whatever. And that's your square block, right? And that deer is giving you a circle hole. That deer's like, this is how I'm going to get killed, but it's not betting, right? Well, they're just going to keep trying to shove that damn square block in the circle hole, and they're not going to get it done. They might be really, really good at putting that square block in the square hole, but the strategy they're employing is just not working. And it seems like you guys are so good at like, all right, I see the deer. Now let's just break down that situation. Let's figure out how that deer is telling us he's going to get killed. and let's go kill them.
Hard about it.
I think that is really, and
especially like I've been in situations where obviously we've been like, not every time we're like he's close to where I'm at, and like all of a sudden like we get all like there, and I'm like, Jared, there he is. What do you think? And we get all start analyzing the project, and the science project is what I call it now.
Yeah, that's what he calls it.
And that's
like
the most fun part, because there's always a way to like work it. Okay, and you just got to figure that out. And so a lot of people just rush right in, and that's the wrong thing to do. There's times to do that, but most of the time it's you got to have a little bit of a game plan, and you got to be able to like just learn the little things to be able to like to make it happen. It's just trial and error. But yeah, man, I live for that shit now. I didn't think it stresses me out, trust me, but I like that part.
I think it's just more fun when you've gone through the stress to get the kill too. Like there's so many times where like you just sitting in a stand waiting for it to happen, and deer comes along like you planned, and yeah, that's great, right? Like you feel good about your prep, but when you're going out there and you're chasing that deer down, you feel like you could be carrying a spear out there. Like it's just primal, man. There's just nothing like it. I love it.
I got her.
Say, Jared, you're about as primal as it gets with the stick bow and everything, man.
You don't want to see him with a compound if you're shooting him at 200 double down.
I think Jared's got to pick up the atlatl and show people.
No, I'll probably be sticking with bow.
Yeah.
I think, I mean,
and I feel like I would miss out on so many opportunities too. And you guys, I mean, you seem like you guys are more invested in the experience than just getting the deer on the ground at the end, even though that's like the goal we're all working towards, right? But I feel like you start to, at some point, you're pounding your head into a wall. I mean, you're already making it so hard on yourself with a trad bow. You're going to go even further than that. I think that you're inviting more room for error too, and more room for sadness to kind of occur.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of like with the traditional bow. I got that one for a long. Well, why'd you switch to traditional? For a long time, I said because I was missing so many deer, I needed a better excuse. Because going into a longbow, I clean missed 3 with a compound. Clean missed her.
Wow.
All fast, like got to make this happen now. What we were kind of talking about earlier. And I also had shot enough deer at long distance that distance kind of just, it was cool for a little bit for me, and it was something I really, for me at least, when I began to actually shoot accurately long distance, it was then cool to kill some deer at those long distances. But then what I found out was that's actually really easy. If you're a trained shooter, like what mainstream teaches today, that's actually not very hard to do. I mean, I found that 35 yards was more difficult than 60 because of reactions and everything. There's a lot of things there. That's what I found out about 18 years ago with enough experiences. But I lost my enthusiasm for doing it at long range. Then it didn't take me real long to lose that enthusiasm, and getting close was what I really liked. So the real reason that I left the compound wasn't to make it more difficult on myself in the hunting. It was if I could learn to shoot with that weapon well enough, I felt it would be a better weapon for me inside of 20. But you pay for it because to get really, really good with it. And it all depends on the archer. I mean, right out of the gate, I was pretty good, but then, it got rusty, so it depends. So I don't want to say that all archers with a traditional bow must shoot a lot in order to be really deadly inside of 20, because generally what I seen was when I'd throw a longbow or a recurve in somebody's hands for the first time, they'd actually shoot pretty good right out of the gate. And then it gets worse pretty quickly. They start thinking about things too much or whatever. And it's like, we can go down that road again, which we don't need to, but there's 2 kind of pathways a bit to it. And so that's, what I really wanted to do was be able to have a weapon that I could shoot very quickly, execute shots quickly, and break up the human silhouette, which basically means I could be a lot more versatile with it. I could keep my body down low and, in the event they see me, they don't know I'm a human because I've kind of crumpled my body up in a way that I don't look human. So it buys me a bit of time, and then I can then also shoot that bow in a way that doesn't give away that I'm a human. So those are some of the real reasons why.
Yeah, you're not up full strut, you know, it's
Right.
more of a, you know, it's already,
that you're right. If I was fortunate the last two I shot standing up, so I was lucky on that, but I didn't need to, man. You know, I'm getting older, so I got to figure out how I can still do this when I'm 80, and I want to have that figured out. I want to figure out how to do that before I'm 80. Otherwise, I might like try tricking myself into I'm getting old, and that's just part of getting old, and then I won't ever find the way. You know, if I figure out how to kill them while I'm standing up, I can do it forever. Well, not forever, but you know, so
yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, man, I just hope that, you know, in the next 40 years of mine, I get to have half the experience that it seems you guys get to have, because it's just, man, I got to take care of my body. I'll just leave it at that, that to make sure.
Well, hey, what weight did you wrestle, dude?
184. I'm pushing. I'm right around 2 bills right now, actually.
Yeah, obviously I've never met you, but you look like you'd have been like in high school. You'd have been like a 125 or 135 or somewhere in there.
Don't insult me now, Chad.
No, I'm just saying. It doesn't look,
sometimes
you don't look maybe now 180, but you in high school you wrestled 189.
In high school I was 170.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I wrestled 140, 145, and then 152.
Well, and I will say that you just said got to take care of yourself. Yeah, you got to do that.
Oh yeah.
I'm pushing 40, and I was pretty damn in shape and everything when I was 20.
I thought you were.
I was 150 pounds back then.
I just turned 40 yesterday.
I'm gonna be 40 soon.
I was about to say happy birthday. No, I know we've been. I keep forgetting to say happy birthday. We're a day removed.
My point is I actually feel like I'm every bit of what I was at 20, like my body wise. So the whole that's just part of getting older. I don't buy that. Like that has a bit of a degree. Obviously, we all get old and that happens.
Like
but
20, dude.
You shouldn't be feeling, in my opinion, you shouldn't be feeling like you're getting older at 40. Well, not that you shouldn't feel that way, but if you're actually taking care of yourself, you won't really feel that at 40, in my opinion. So, because I got it back. You know, I kind of lost it for a while, but I got it all back. So,
yeah, no, I completely agree. I feel like that's just as essential as practicing with your bow.
Yeah, my point behind bringing that up is, you know, I hope people that are, say, 30, 40, 50, you know, like, you can get a lot back. You might have lost it by not taking care of yourself and gave yourself the excuse you're getting older.
Just changing your eating habits and stuff. Trust me. I eat good food, but I'm not eating candy. I'm not eating snacks. I don't drink pop. I don't buy pop. You know what I'm saying? Like in wrestling. So remember this. I remember back, I would drink one day I drank like one pop. I don't know. It was like my sophomore year, and after a practice or before practice. And I'm telling you, that was the worst practice of all time. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
You learn how bad that shit is for you. Now I'm like last night I had a couple Jim Beams and Coke with my, for my birthday. I know what I can do and what I can't do, but I'm not sitting around buying a case of pop and drinking pop.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so it's a special occasion deal for me. But yeah, I mean, wrestling is a very, I'm from Iowa here, so I mean, my family is wrestling, and that was just like you get made fun of if you played basketball here, you know.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's so funny because I'm 6'4", and everybody's like, "Man, you wrestle? You're not a basketball." I said, "Hell no, I ain't no basketball player." You know what I'm saying? I was a wrestler. You know, it was the only sport I ever did, and I chose more hunting and stuff, so I was never able to really showcase my skills in wrestling as much as I should have. But I just love the sport, you know. In wrestling, that was like there was no other sport but wrestling in high school for all I care. I mean, like that's a badass sport. And it's an individual. You don't have to depend on somebody else.
Right.
You know
I like that you're a part of a team and you're an individual at the same time. Like what you do for your team, like what if you lose, it's 100% on you. It's not that play or that person or this thing. So it teaches you accountability. And I see that a lot, Chancy, in your hunts too, is like you're not the guy that's like going to blame this external factor right away. You're like, you know what? I'm pissed off, but I'll own that, right? And I think that's why you guys get better at what you do, is because you can't change the result if it's not your fault. You know, so like if you admit it's your fault, you can work on making it better and you can get past it next time. 100%. And I think wrestling, like you guys do so much.
The quickest way to hit the next level is to actually evaluate what went wrong. And you shouldn't, if it wasn't you shouldn't trick yourself into thinking it was. Some people do that too.
True.
They gaslight their own selves into believe, you know, like, well, I'll take that one, when it's like, no, that wasn't, you shouldn't do that either. You know, because that's not truthful the other direction. It's got good intention. You want to take responsibility for, but if it's not, like, you shouldn't. If that does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, because then
I would say more often people create excuses rather than face the actual facts of what they could have done. You know, and that's like we were talking about earlier, like with Droopy, it was like he's evaluating everything, every little slight hint of I messed this, that, you know, go right down the list, and that's.
Yeah, and I think you're making a good point too, because there's a point in which you beat yourself up more than you stand to gain. You know, even if it was all you know, like there's so many things you can break down that you could beat yourself up over. And I think that especially in whitetail hunting, like, and just hunting on the ground in general, like if you say that, like if I would have been like, all right, well, that side by side, if I would have been down there 5 minutes earlier and anticipated where he bedded, and I come up with this big grand excuse to take accountability for it, right? I'm going to push the envelope harder than I should the next time, and I'm going to screw it up again. You know, so I think that there's a really good line to tiptoe between, all right, this is stuff that I could control and I could do some better at. And this is stuff that, you know, was truthfully out of my control. But then, like, don't take it personally. Just take it in the way, all right, how can I improve? Let's improve, and let's just move on to the next situation. You know, like, I'm not incompetent, you know.
Exactly. Like what you're talking about with the side-by. It's like, yeah, I'm really pissed off that the side-by-side just blew my hunt, but I could have moved on that situation 5 minutes earlier. And that is a variable I can control within my space, you know, and that's probably going to happen again at some point in my life. So, you know, and so you kind of hit on that there.
You're going to shit when you see the stuff coming up that you just was out of our control. Like, I'm like, I was so confident we are going to go kill. And then all of a sudden, what the hell? What's a dude in a stocking cap?
Oh,
you know, just crazy shit. Like, I'm telling you, I mean, you couldn't have planned it out. Like, it's almost like I'm on Big Buck Punk TV more than you think. Okay. And then obviously I'm not. It's just crazy shit happen. It blows my mind how much silly shit happens, which I look back at. It's not really silly. Obviously, it's a public piece of ground. The dude was out there trying to hunt. There he was, but he was right next to, you know, a Magnum.
And he never knew it was there.
Never knew it was there.
But his wind blew right into it. You know?
Anyway, that'll all come.
Yeah, but it was a spot that
if you guys
see a bow hunter. You'd never see a bow hunter there. What's this guy doing? He clearly has no clue that deer's there. Because one, he wouldn't have the scent blowing in, and two, he's got his back to the deer and he's just sitting there, you know, just stupid.
Just situation. You're like, oh my God, you spot a big one.
Finally.
And he's like, he beds, and it's like, holy shit, the wind's perfect where we want to get. Boom, boom, boom. It's calculations. All right, let's get there. Get the camera ready. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, what's that? Oh, no way. It's almost like, damn, you know, I mean, might as well have been Bigfoot peekaboo and shit right there. You know, it's like, I mean, how does this stuff even, like, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is really going on right now. And it's just like, man, you know, you just got
I got to have you guys on again after that next one drops, because like, I want to be able to like go crazy into detail on those things, but I want to spoil it, you know, like there's so much, I mean, in the concept of these films, you guys cover like what's really like years worth of hunting across multiple people.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, the opportunities, and I'm going to say force, but that's not the right, I'll say create. The opportunities you guys create are just something that the average hunter, you know, let's say the average mobile hunter, it's something that the average mobile hunter would experience once or twice in their lifetime. And it's because you guys are just balls to the wall in so many different areas, and all of you at once too. And that's why it's like, we got to have you on again, because I'm sure by the time next year happens, like there's going to be a whole plethora of new stories and stuff that goes on, and I don't want you to have to spoil it every time you're on for the new one.
I will say the next one coming out, as it's pretty well oiled as far as like not high on the failures of situations as much. I mean, things just came together very smooth on so many situations. So it's almost like after all these years of, you know, you know, and it can tip back the other direction too, you know, but that's one season where it's like, man, these guys got their shit together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. That's freaking awesome. That's good to hear.
But yeah, there'll still be some, but just just not as high.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, I'll be watching an envy, thinking of all the situations I screwed up. That seems like what I always do when I watch some of these hunts. But Jared, you've had some problems with property boundaries occasionally.
Yes. Yeah. What's that?
You have a couple different stories on that.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah, I got two in a very short period,
and
then I almost had another one the next year, but I caught it. And then you had the refuge one. Oh my God.
That's a big
that's actually yeah, that was
it's corrupt.
It's corrupt. It's like just flat out corrupt on so many levels that
that's when you learn.
It's disgustingly gross. I mean,
you get good and you're bad, man.
I mean, if this game warden would have stopped and held up at the boat, we would have shot this buck right in front of him, not knowing we were on a refuge.
Labeled public hunting on their website.
And
oh my gosh,
on the DNR's map, and no signs.
No signs.
No signs.
So it's like gated intel, you know, like
it's like you're like, what? Huh?
Yeah. Well, dive into that then, Chancy. Describe kind of like this hunt, how it's winding up and everything.
It was tough.
We were excited. We had a shitty. It was going pretty shitty where we normally hunt, and we're just go do something else. And we had to do a piece of public,
probably an hour and a half.
That was always kind of been on our radar to give it a shot. And we got down there. We had it all. We did our research, figured out where it was public, where it was. There was actually
we were actually bebopping around that day about an hour and a half from a lot of his normal stomping grounds because we had a tough hunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we were checking. We had a question on another piece, called a warden on that piece to figure that out. If we had question, we're trying to do what we can. No question in this case.
Yeah.
We end up on this big piece of public, put the boat in, public hunting signs. I got the DNR map from the DNR. This isn't a third party. We're motorboating along all of a sudden, there's a pretty good buck, probably 145.
Yeah, so maybe 150. It's a beautiful
that's a great buck.
This is a really good scenario. It's not like oh wow, this it's like man, we should be having a situation where we could do this about every other day.
And so it's not like you're trying something risky.
It's not like it's
mega.
And we're not thinking anything of it at all.
Right.
And then it's all on the video. The ride.
It's on the ride. So
we
look down.
Give me every excuse in the book as to why there can't be signs of this floods every decade or something.
That ain't our problem.
Like,
I
went down there in the summer just to find out, there's got to be signage somewhere. So by this point now I know where the refuge line actually would start. It's not marked on the water. And I'm like, well, it's got to be marked on land somewhere. I had to go, it was like around 160 yards. I used a rangefinder and everything because I was preparing evidence. And we decided it's a petty fine, but we'll show up and we'll present all the evidence. We're not going to hire an attorney.
Well, you might do right by some other hunters in the future.
Yeah. And clearly, here's all the evidence. But we're not going to hire an attorney for $100 and some ticket just on principle and all this evidence. Throw it out. Are you kidding me?
So, Chance, you got on this buck.
It's about 160. Yeah.
For the people that haven't watched the ride, so you got on this buck. You guys water access, and you got on this buck, and essentially, you're at the point of drawing and you guys saw a game warden, right?
Well, we were getting in position. We were maybe 30, 40 yards from getting into where it's kill time.
Okay.
And I think we could have probably ended up killing the deer or having a shot at it. And I look back at the boat, and here's a dude by our boat and another boat that looks like mine. And I'm like,
No, not another boat.
yeah, he pulled up another boat, didn't he?
No, I didn't
think he
think he
did.
did.
Is there
No,
another
I
boat?
think
I don't know.
I think he was.
I forget. We'll have to look.
He had a dog.
He had a dog. He was walking up the bank. I think he was in a boat, Jared. But anyway, I forget. But anyway, all I know is there's a dude walking by my boat with a black lab. In my mind, on the way in, we seen a decoy floating. I'm like, oh, it's waterfowl hunter. He's up in there. He's probably looking around for us, make sure he ain't gonna mess up our hunt, whatever. I'm like, this dude's walking down the bank. This deer's gonna see this dude if I don't go run, get low and run down the damn bank and like,
stop.
Whoa, hey, dude, we got a big buck up and we're trying to sneak it. You need to, just hold up for a little bit. And I get down there. I said, hey, man. I said,
well, he thought when he binocked him, he's like, I think it's a damn DNR. And so I'm like thinking in my head, like, well, I'm going to go film this.
Yeah.
Because
like, I better document this in case something's fishy going on.
Well, no, I wasn't even thinking that.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, well, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting interaction. He's going to sneak back and tell him we got a big buck. This could be a game warden.
Hey, you need to hold up, sir.
You need to hold up. You can check the hunt license in a second. We're going to go kill this buck and then we'll get it all sorted out.
Right.
So I'm thinking,
well, and they're all hunters too, usually too. They love watching that.
This is going to be a really interesting, cool twist.
Before you go hunt that buck, show me your light. Like he's a month. That's a weird situation.
I'm thinking this could go a lot of different directions in that way, but
you read it right.
I never thought that, but that's what I'm there to produce stories, and I'm like, yeah, we should be able to sneak back to him, stop him, and then sneak back in and kill this buck. And depending on if this is a DNR warden, which he's thinking it is, depending on how he decides to handle it, he could be like, oh, I need to check your hunting license and do all this and da-da-da-da. And that could be like, for people watching, could be like, come on, just let him go shoot the buck and then check all that, or whatever. I'm just, there's a lot of creative things, possibilities that I don't know. Then we find that out. So,
yeah. The craziest part is I go down, I said, hey, dude, you hold up. Like we're on a big buck here. He says, well, you're hunting wildlife refuge. And I said, excuse me? I says, no, I'm not. I said, he says, yeah, you are. And I said, no, we're not. I said, it shows on the map, this is public hunting. And he didn't, it was almost like it kind of blew his mind. Like he just thought this is new to him. Like, I'm like, look up on the deal. And then Jared's like, yeah. Jared already, he pulls it up. Look, public hunting right here.
I had it loaded because there was no service there. So I had to keep the thing loaded so I could see. So I had it loaded up there, and then he was kind of like,
So imagine having a dude saying, yeah, it shows that you're hunting public, right? And then you have a dude, no, it's not. That's wildlife refuge. And it ain't marked on their maps. How sick in that dude's mind that he thinks that he's right. Oh, it's okay. Well, it's not marked on the map as a wildlife refuge, but it shows that it's public hunting. But I'm just going to go ahead and just give these guys a ticket because they messed up.
Well, and two, you got to think about like normal people that, I shouldn't say normal, but it's getting to be less of this, and more, not more the other direction, but for a long, long time, if you're a deer hunter, you're hunting the same area. You've been pre-scouting, you've done all this. We're freewheeling over here.
First time
we're
ever there.
Hour and a half away. We're not like your normal guy that would know all, maybe heard through the grapevine or locally or whatever, that there's a part of this that ends up being a refuge and it's not marked out there or what,
right.
We're coming from ways away and just.
Yeah. No signs at the boat ramp saying, hey, look out for this area. This is a refuge.
Yeah.
None of that. That at the end of the day, the dude's like, well, there's a buoy out there. You didn't see the buoy?
Oh,
It's flooded timber. You're telling me before I go on a hunt, I have to go look for buoys now?
Yeah, it wasn't a line of buoys. It was flooded timber, 3/4 of a mile. I did it all on Google line distance and everything. This is all part of the evidence that presented. We just didn't hire an attorney, so you're going against the state. So it's
it's
like we're gonna go and do it,
messed it up.
expecting them to be, shady as shit because it's the state, and we're not coming in and hiring an attorney. So in this particular case, they're probably going to show what corrupt it is, how corrupt it really is, which is kind of the way I expected it to go. But nonetheless, 3/4 of a mile wide piece of water, flooded timber in there, and a cluster of 3 buoys around flooded timber, all within 75 yards, not in a line at all. The closest sign was around 160 yards up into the woods over a hill.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
And your DNR map says it's public hunting. Nothing marked as a refuge. And, we supplied all this.
Hey, they had a new map.
We couldn't. I wanted to film it and all this into the, that's what I wanted to do, but no recording devices in the courtroom kind of thing, And it's like, I want to, do it for the story. Like, they're probably going to find some way to spin it, which they did. At the end of the day, I'm a big conservationist, the judge. I'm a big conservationist and sportsman myself. And, I do believe you guys didn't know. And there's a lot of, evidence, and evidence that would support that here. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. And what I would encourage you to do is contact the DNR and tell them
before every situation you hunt.
I said, my job is not that, to make sure that the DNR has their refuges properly marked through various forms. My job is to produce stories, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And it's getting kind of out of hand too, even around here. Like last year called the DNR about accessing from this creek, and it's like a drainage ditch with flow, right? And they're like, yeah, of course, that's good, blah, 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 blah. They're like, you can get off of the bank to dodge a tree in the water. You just got to return immediately back to the creek. You got to do the same from the road. Just get fast as you can to the creek, and it has to be somewhere where it's intersecting the road. And I was like, perfect. And so call them up again this year about the exact same area. And the lady's like, well, in this county, the state has done some ruling where we're changing what the law is on minimum water level and floodplain and all this crap. And she's like, basically someone brought it up in court and the public doesn't have a say in this. And it's because of the flooding we had last year. People just started accessing off of flooded fields thinking it's a waterway. And so I was like, all right, well, you said it was good last year. Like, can I do it? And she's like, well, we don't really know what the state feels about it right now. So we're just going to say no to all water access of that type. And I'm like, how is that right in any way? Like, why can't the public have a weigh in on it? Why can't you just say what was legal last year is legal this year? I'm judging the water off its minimum level. It's just, it's ridiculous. At
the end of the day, what I learned through those experiences is all you can do is the best you can do on your end, but ultimately it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And it might be the short end of the deal, but it's worded that way in a lot of these states, even so that because they don't need a big lawsuit coming back at them that they didn't do their jobs and mark shit properly, right?
Yeah.
So nope, it's your responsibility. Well, how am I supposed to know if you guys provide maps that say otherwise and don't put signs out there? No, it's your responsibility. Is it though? Yeah. Like it is by law, but is it actually? Is that
right?
Right? No,
it's their responsibility to give us accurate information, so we can.
You just kind of got to accept that. That's just,
Yeah. As an engineer,
you just get frustrated and you get upset and you get angry and you know that's not good either. And so it's like, well, I'm out here doing the best I can, and occasionally something could come up like that. And if you're doing the best you can, and that's all you can do.
Right. As an engineer
what's that?
As an engineer, that sounds like a contract I turned down where they say, give us your best effort, but you're liable on some unknown criteria. Like,
here's the rules you must follow. By the way, it's your responsibility, and we're going to leave some things gray, and we're going to provide, it's like,
hopefully you make the right decision.
But because we said it's your responsibility, And even though we own that land too and didn't mark it properly and gave you maps to go out there, it's still your responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it is, but it's, and yeah, okay, so you can't drop the ticket.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
And that's the judge in that particular case. The judge, he said, well, it sounds like you're not, you can appeal it. It sounds like you're not happy. And I was like, why would I do that? I was like, you guys just ruled. You made the choice on your decision. I'm going to produce the story. All of this, and this is how you chose to go about it. Like,
I think it's the
you're a
symbolic.
judge, and I didn't really sugarcoat it, but
Right. I think it's symbolic, like of they admitting they were wrong. They just can't handle that,
It's the state. So if you're going to go against the state, you need legal representation. We knew that going into it, but we'll give you.
You figured they were just wow, we did wrong here. This is wow. We had some stuff that we didn't do properly here. Let's let this fly.
I figured I'd present all the evidence that and I spent a good amount of time doing it because I was like, I want them to know for 100%, and we're going to do this without an attorney. And it's the state, so they're probably going to spin it. But I am very interested to see how their choice, once all the facts are laid out, how it goes,
It turned out to be a big scam. That they are the most crookedest punk of all time.
So it was a good okay, that's the way I thought you'd do it.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha.
It was there was a bit of sourness with it for me, even though I knew it would probably go that way, because with an attorney, for surely never would have, because all the facts were too blatantly obvious.
Right.
But what are you going to do? You go spend $2,000 to fight $100 and some ticket, and
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. So it's like, but I was, appalled by what the judge said at the end after seeing all the evidence, and in this particular case, talking about how he's a big conservationist and sportsman.
That dude's never shot a rabbit.
And I was like, oh great, we got a game warden and a judge who's big conservation sportsmen, but neither one of you give a damn about an unmarked refuge. Exactly. That adds up.
Exactly.
I gotta speak my mind when there's enough facts. It's like, that math don't math.
Yeah. And if the shoe's on the other foot, you're doing right by another outdoorsman. If you are in that position,
for sure,
you're gonna use your interpretation, and it's unfortunate it played out that way, man. And I feel that's just.
I'm not really sour about it. I get intense about it a little bit, but it's not something.
It's the principle
to let people know that.
Yeah, it could happen to you. Just don't let it turn you too sour.
I will guarantee you, there's not a sign down there. They didn't do anything more. This is an open. This is a deal that they're just waiting for the next victim. It's almost maybe that sick down there.
Write the ticket. And it is sad, and it's evil shit, but just light level evil shit. It's $100 and some ticket, but
But if let me tell you something. If I would have shot that deer, you want to talk? We would have had to get.
You'd have saddled up.
That's where
won.
That's
deal.
Oh yeah. That's where. Okay, now you get the attorney, but that would have been really interesting.
It's something that feels like it should be so far from outdoors. Like we're outdoors. We were doing something as natural and as close to our, as close to our roots as it gets, and that's why it just feels so disgusting when there's some kind of political connotation or some biased or some law involved in it that's somewhat corrupt, because you want this to be as pure as possible. And I think the reason that you guys care about this case is because you're representing outdoorsmen and you're trying to do right by the other outdoorsmen that might be in this situation. And there was an opportunity for them to change this such that it could benefit other people, and they chose not to. And that's what's really unfortunate about it. And I think that you guys are, like you said, $100-something ticket, that's not a big deal, but it's more the principle of if they could have done right by outdoorsmen, especially when he labels himself as a conservationist,
They know they did the wrong thing.
They knew, but it's like, what? Yeah.
And good for you guys for telling the story of it and just doing it from a perspective of like, hey, like it's our responsibility at the end of the day. How easy that is, who knows at this point. But like everybody, you can look out for this.
Is it one we're going to carry guilt with? It's kind of goes back to what we were talking earlier too. Like, no, you don't take this, like, screw you. Like, we're not taking responsibility. Yeah. Okay, cool. You ruled against it. It's $100 and some ticket.
Yeah.
We had no clue because of all of, because it was unmarked on your maps, on the signs, we were completely clueless. And so therefore we're not going to take responsibility for something that you should have had right on one of those dockets,
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I got you, man.
I kind of understand, let's say they had the map right, or
right. Or there was some document out there.
But it's like, when it's so heavily swayed in direction, it's like,
oh, I got you, man.
That's where you shouldn't. So no, I didn't lose any sleep over that. Although I was disgusted by how they chose to go about it, and then that's all you can do at the end of the day is present the facts. And
I'm about sick of talking about them punks.
Yeah. No, I got you, man. I wanted to get into some of your wildest decoy stories. I know that you guys have had some crazy occurrences behind a decoy. There's one in the Reckoning that comes to mind for me, but I know there's plenty out there. You guys tell, like, what's your favorite, most crazy encounter that you've had with a decoy?
Oh man, we love it. Well, Jared built this decoy that you're seeing all over the videos.
And then
we need 3 of them, and we're gonna have to figure something out here pretty quick. He's gonna have to start building some shit here because we each need to have one, to tell you the truth, because there's circumstances where you got to have it, and we only have one right now. And I kind of like tell everybody to screw off. I'm taking the damn decoy, and nobody else gets it but me. I'm very selfish, but we need to get a couple more made. But yeah, we love that. Shay had the one, the Reckoning, right? That's the one he snuck up in on, and
that's when he put the hide on it.
And it was just that hunt was so badass, and it was built, like the turkey style. You see all the turkey reaping. Well, I started a bunch of that stuff years ago. Have you ever seen that before?
Oh yeah.
So I started that shit. I was the first one to film it, 100% on YouTube. The Man versus Turkey. You can look it up, and that kind of transitioned into the deer stuff. And Shane and Jared got pretty creative. We're like, I wonder if this is going to work with deer. And they did it with the deer, which it's not like a turkey you can kind of walk at. Deer don't play that game. You have to put yourself in position or be where maybe they ain't looking. All of a sudden you're there. You can't just go walking at a deer with a decoy. So that's the first thing.
They're not turkeys.
They're not a turkey. They're so dialed in. They know movement. The movement of a whitetail is so gracious and just so smooth. There's no jerky shit. They can spot that shit at 200 yards and they're gone. Like, it's very but the decoy thing, it's unbelievable, man. There's circumstances where it works better than others, but we love doing it, and we got a bunch of amazing shit coming.
Yeah.
You'll blow your hair
not so much in the next one, but the one that'll follow. Yeah. We turned the decoy back up. It's really good stuff.
That's fun.
Well,
did you make a decoy? Do you have one?
I was just about to ask Jared to make me one too. I don't know what kind of.
Hey,
we're depleted.
Let me tell you something right now. I've had 1,000 people message me. How can you what? And I'm like, well, you're just gonna have to get creative. I will give you one technique. Don't make it any heavier in your bow, or else you're wasting your time.
Oh yeah.
You can make them heavier in your bow, but it's just you got to be mobile. Think about it.
I'm thinking about making one. Just from what happened in Nebraska this year too, and I'll have to send you like a video of some of these hunts because I don't want to talk about myself here in this podcast. But man, I mean, even in the early season, September 1 opener, I can feel situations that would have gone so much differently if I just had something that they were looking at other than a human-sized idiot trying to creep through the cactus, and that really, really short grass. I don't have sage or anything. The highest plant's a yucca, like I've got nothing to blend into there. And I would just love to try that. And I think making a decoy would be really slick. Now where I'm at in the cattails, like it's 12-foot tall cover anyways. Like decoy ain't doing much there.
A decoy, it's a tool.
Yeah,
You know,
we
and
don't
it's
use
like all of these.
There's a right and wrong place to use it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah, you
like,
can't drag a
is
damn
that
decoy
gonna
with
make you?
cattails.
Is that gonna make you a better hunter? No, it won't make you a better hunter. Will it allow you to execute some of those hunts better? Yeah, it will, because it's a tool.
sure.
But it's not. It's not the. It's
It's
just
not some magic potion, you know.
yes, exactly. All of it's just tools, but it doesn't actually make somebody a better hunter.
I'll tell you,
It
you
ain't-
know when it's like, holy shit, this is the tool that we need at this moment.
Yeah.
And it usually works out to be that tool. But
Yeah.
sometimes, you know,
it can cost you too.
Yeah, it can cost you,
ruin
but
you.
we-
You know, people think the decoy's the answer. That's what they thought when they saw the reckoning, and then many people tried to replicate that, and it's like, no, that was a fluke.
Yeah.
It was a fluke scenario where that buck just didn't lock onto the decoy and had his attention on the doe and caught the decoy with the peripherals, and we just got lucky.
Yeah.
On that. They ain't that you know, that was a
Right.
And if you bring the decoy in, a lot of people think you got to use. You don't invest
No.
yourself to where you have to use it. You can get in there. I've been in there multiple times where we've been in there like,
better not
we ain't
use it.
using the damn thing now.
It ain't the right
But we
tool
thought
for the
maybe it
job.
was going to be a situational
Right.
deal, and it ain't. And a lot of people are like, well, we
And
got a
that's-
decoy and we got to use the decoy. And then
That's where it comes back to the hunter. You know, if somebody thinks, oh, I'm just going to build a decoy and this is how I'm gonna.
Yeah. I mean, I
You
I had
know,
the pleasure of interviewing Andy May, and Andy was talking about how he's constantly one of those guys that's working on his weaknesses, right? And whether it's something that you considered a weakness, like he's just trying to develop a new skill, right? And just become a jack of all trades. And I truly think he's great at a lot of things, but he'll tell you he's great at nothing and he's good at a lot of things. And, you know, he's got kills from a stand, and then he's like, man, I was thinking about trying to kill one on the ground. And he goes to a ground. He's like, dude, I suck at using decoys. I want to try using decoys. Kills him with a decoy. Then I'm trying to use a bow mounted decoy. And he's just constantly honing different skills. So now it's like,
he's well
that guy
rounded.
kills. Right. That guy kills in like 2 days everywhere he goes.
Right.
You know, no wonder he's worked on these weaknesses. And you know, there's these trips that I'll see guys go on, and they'll be like, man, you ought to be sitting in a stand instead of doing that spot and stalk. Like, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And it's like, well, that guy doing that spot and stalk is learning a whole nother style of hunting.
I saw a long time ago that it's once you break the threshold, you're on the other side. You can get more done on the ground.
Oh yeah.
But the failure rate can be quite high depending on where you're coming in. Every individual is different, but the failure rate can be pretty high, and it can look like you should be sitting in. And I got that a lot when that first video where we produced all on the ground. It didn't exist back then, not in the whitetail space. Like all on the ground, going aggressively at them in that format, it did not exist.
But once you build that confidence where you're like, no.
And I heard it many, many times. You guys would do better in tree stands. You would, but I already seen enough to know, like, well, our encounter rate wouldn't be as high. Our failure rate might be high right now on executing these situations, but we're never going to get this encounter rate being stationary. So the only pathway forward is to figure out the failure rate.
I'd rather fail 10 times out of 10 opportunities than get one opportunity and succeed. Because I'm going to learn so much more. Like I'm going to be, and that's what it's about. You know, it's about becoming the best hunter you can be. And I think even further than that, like when you're doing the dieting stuff, right? You're exercising when you can, you're taking care of the stuff outside of hunting so that you can be a good hunter. You're becoming a better person on top of it. You're learning a work ethic. And I think that's like the real secondary, you know, to like everyone's out there to kill a deer, right? But you try these strategies that challenge you. And not only do you become a better deer hunter, but you kind of become a better person through that noble pursuit that you got. And that's what I really like about your guys' strategy. It's a new way to challenge yourself. There's emotion, there's passion. You take it personally at times. Sometimes you know when to let it go. And it's just really like this beautiful entanglement with deer hunting. And it's not manicured in any way. You guys are not digging your money off of sponsorships and you got to push this product or that product to do this thing or kill them in this style or this stand. Like you're just purely out there chasing it because you love it. And that's like, if I could show anyone the way that they should start hunting, it would be that. It would be just pure passion, at the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, because that's the beauty of hunting right there is being able to just dive into it and experience everything all at once.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a journey, and all that, all of what you talked about there, it's like you gotta chase, that what you feel. You can't worry about, like back in them old days, it's like I heard all that, you could never hunt deer like that on the ground in this state. You'd be better in trees. And it's like I already could see that. And so it was real. It didn't even, it was like hitting a wall, all of that I was hearing, because I knew that's not the pathway forward. That would be going against what your intuition's telling you and pulling you towards. If I would let what other people think I should be doing. A lot of people think they know what you should be doing.
I like that.
Right.
You can't do,
You shouldn't be doing it. It's like, well, maybe you can think that. People are free will to think whatever they want. But we've seen the tide shift over the last 14 years. Now, our agenda was never to shift the tide. Our agenda was to kill more big bucks in a less amount of time and have a ball doing it. But it's switched, and I haven't heard that in a long time. You could never do that in this state. Or why is it shifted? Not because we did it, because more people, in my opinion, more people seen, what are these crazy bastards doing that? And then they go out, and pretty soon this guy knows his buddy killed one on the ground here, and it, other people are doing it too, and so that instills the confidence that more and more people can do it. And we just did it because it's like, well, we need to get more
do something
results. We got to get more content to produce a video every year. And
right. And I love that you touched on confidence there, Jared, because like when you're learning your own strategy, right, or you're learning to become a hunter, as many people that listen to podcasts do, if you're just trusting what Joe down the street tells you is the right strategy, or what this podcast or that podcast says, you don't become personal with those skills. What I mean is, like, if you didn't come up with a theory or you didn't decide to try it out, when it fails or when it succeeds, it doesn't feel like you accomplish it. It feels like whatever someone told you, that's the person that really deserves the credit, And when you go out there and you risk it and you're like, I'm going to try this on the ground thing. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone's telling me to hunt from a stand. I'm going to try this on the ground thing because I think it's going to work. I don't care what this podcast says, what this guy says or that guy says. And you go out there and you succeed. That's such a rich success, comparatively to one where you're just blindly trusting whatever strategy you hear out of the blue.
Yeah. And that's where, you begin to get, you do it enough times and you begin to cross into competence. Like you evaluate the situation, and sometimes you can get overly competent. And we've seen that too, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a slam dunk. This is, and you're counting your chickens before they hatch. And it's like, whoa, we got Houdini on that one. That's the humbling part. And then it's like other ones where you're like, I'm giving it a 5%, but we got to try it, or 10%, something low. And it's like, I don't know how that worked, but it did, and so, but yeah, that's all good stuff.
There ain't nothing more fun than knowing there's a buck there and you're going in to try to kill it.
Oh, dude.
There. Nothing worse than that. I wonder if there's one around. You ain't going to kill a big buck if he ain't there. And when you get the confidence and like I just watched a big bastard bed there and you're going in after it, that's the sickest feeling.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's nothing like it. I gotta hype myself up and I gotta calm myself down. I go through like the lows. I get real high and I'm like, let's get this buck, and then I'm like 20 yards away. I'm like, right, shut up. Like, we're gonna do this. Like, focus. Like, you gotta laser in.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, and then the best is that passive aggressive. And when Chancy entered this space, I could see he had the aggression side, and I knew that. And because he's really good at evaluating what went wrong. He come in pretty, in my opinion, from back then. And I remember this vividly, how aggressive he was coming in. And I'd take aggressive over passive if I had to pick between the two. But he on his own figured it out very quickly and very precisely. Now I got to put on the brakes. Now I got to go into passive mode. And he threads that needle just, I mean, it's a fine line.
Oh, yeah.
And he very quickly crafted into, we got to move now. Okay, now we got to put on the brakes, and we can't move for a long time because I really want that buck.
That's the part I got to figure out yet. That's for sure. But
that, and that comes with experience. And, that's why, people can read it in a book all they want and they can listen to all they want, but there's no replacement for the experience. I mean, you can get a leg up a bit, but the experiences will triumph it every time. In my opinion.
Absolutely.
Plus, they give you your individuality too. Like when you're reading it from a book or listening to it, you're going off of what somebody else says, and not that might not be true or true for them with their abilities and their skill of where they're at in hunting or whatever it might be. But the experience is you're individually on your own living, like you were in that moment. You seen what happened, what went wrong, what went right. And that's where
that's where you develop. Yeah.
That's where you develop. And as people get older, that comes out more because of their experiences.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Well, you guys, it has been a freaking pleasure talking to you. This has been like the funnest podcast I've been a part of in any way as a guest or a host. So this has been awesome, man. I want to give a shout out one more time to Whitetail Adrenaline. You guys go to whitetailadrenaline.com. Again, funded by the DVDs. Go get you a set of DVDs, and you're going to see in depth and detail all these crazy stories, and 40 times more per set, it seems like, than what we talked about. I mean, it's really engaging stuff. If you got someone you're looking to get into hunting, if you got a fiance or a wife or a spouse or a girlfriend that you might want to get a little more engaged in the content.
The first DVD that your wife will like to watch with you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be that and the wedding DVD. Those are going to be the top two in the player.
Wedding DVDs they only watch once though. I produced a few weddings and then I said no more. Too much time goes into it. You only watch it once.
I'm gonna pull through my DVD player with this Whitetail Journal and stuff. But you guys, and then keep up to date with what's going on because you guys are going to drop a new set now. We're not going to give a time period on this set. You're going to drop a perfect.
Yes, I focus on making it the best I can,
right.
Not the time as much. So.
Right, exactly, and that's why you guys have the reputation you do, is because what you put out, that the dollars you put on that are going to be returned 10 times over as a listener. So
we hope.
oh no, dude, it is for me, man. It is for me for sure. So again, this has been Chancy Walters and Jared Scheffler, Whitetail Adrenaline. Guys, thank you so much for being on here. This has been a blast.
Thank you.
We're going down the road here and have a margarita and some of the best Mexican carnitas tacos you ever had in your life.
Oh man, I wish I was close by. That would be a great time.
You'd be invited.
Oh yeah. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
You bet.
Good luck out there this season, bud.
Hey, thank you, man.
I'm going to kill a big one. We'll talk soon.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's podcast. The best way you can support the podcast is by sharing online and with your buddies at Deer Camp. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram and leave us a 5-star review.